Here we are at the Rock Guitar Shelter. You know, it's a beautiful thing called the Wonder Novena of a Beautiful Day in May. J.R. Fleet, I think you're going to point some things out to us today.
I just absolutely am really super excited about Mother's Day.
Yes,
For
of
one reason,
course.
it's a peaceful time. I love peace lilies.
Righto.
It's sunny.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day in Calgary, Alberta, and not too long ago my wonderful mom passed away, and today would be the first Mother's Day I'll be living without my mom since I've been born. And as a tribute to my wonderful mom, I want to point out the great work that Rock Guitar Shelter has done, the Rock Guitar Shelter Foundation here in Calgary, Alberta.
Because you really did this for your mom and dad, I believe.
Well, my father was instrumental in his music and sharing music and helping out in the community of Merritt and Kamloops and over British Columbia and Halifax and Winnipeg and all over Canada and some parts of the U.S. So when my father passed away of an aneurysm, I had made a decision to carry on his legacy of music by doing something. At the time, I was a contractor with a company called Walnuts R Us Inc. We're still in business now. I just don't do a lot of projects unless they're very intense, hard projects to do, which I love to sink my hands into.
Which projects have you done in the past, by the way?
I did the Days Inn on McLeod Trail, the exterior in 12 days, restored it completely.
Yes.
I did the Hampton Hilton on Banff Trail.
Yeah.
Did a pedestrian bridge for Viking Steel at Bowness Park.
Right.
Built East Indian vegetarian restaurants and built
The-
houses,
the-
restored buildings.
The list
Fairmont
goes
Resort,
on.
Columbia Villas, Riverside Golf and Country Club in Fairmont. I mean, all over Canada. Projects in Bragg Creek, projects in Bearspaw, high-end homes, that kind of thing. And
So
what I
you
did-
so you kind of left that to kind of
I
fulfill a
left that.
promise.
That's right. I knew that if I was to continue being, a contractor here in Calgary, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I felt purposely driven into doing, which was one, I had made this personal goal in 2011 to give 365 guitars away free to children who and organizations who couldn't afford guitars if someone hadn't given them to them. So I'm happy to say that in 2011 we surpassed all our goals, and I may have made some mistakes along the way in the sense that I tried to convey the message of needing cash support. We obviously were able to get guitars from the public. We have to date in 16 months given out 678 guitars, 50 other instruments, 78 amps and gear. So we're over almost 800 musical instruments in the community, and 16-month period of time. So I'm really happy about that.
This would be to kids who normally would not be able to afford them, and especially to support charities who would use the guitars you donate for them to further be able to raise funds for their organizations.
Well, that's right too. Like for instance, Heart and Stroke, they need good guitars so they can sell them at silent auctions to raise money for their initiatives, and Kids Up Front, we were able to help them out. That was great working with them. Third Academy, wonderful place to help with guitars and children and music therapy, and
Alberta Children's Hospital, I believe.
all kinds of different
Yeah.
places in the community. And where we sit right now is we're moving locations. We've had problems with the landowner. The city had given us a letter saying that because we're no longer the owner of the house, we can't run a home occupancy permit, or not a permit, but a non-for-profit anything out of the old school garage here. So the landowner didn't want to work with us to help us find a happy medium, which the city was more than happy to give us.
Yeah.
And I can personally say, Mike Fox, Gord York, Kent Palliser, Bob Cameron.
Pretty much bent over backwards to accommodate what you're doing here.
Absolutely.
Kudos to them.
The City of Calgary, they've been great to us, and
Yeah.
so we're very happy with our relationship with the City of Calgary. And now we'll have to ask and see if there's any other great buildings somewhere on Trans-Canada. I'd like to stay in the Northwest where we could, reopen the concept of what we're doing here, old school, the spirit of rock and roll, connecting with children and music, and
People dropping in for music
people
lessons.
coming in for lessons and learning how
Door
to fix
open
guitars.
to people, walk in.
Openly available to anyone who has an interest in music and this kind of stuff. And so I'm pretty happy with what's gone on here up until recently, but I just like to point out some of the great artists on the door here for
Now,
you.
this art was supposed to have been bequeathed, right, to the city of Calgary, these murals?
Yeah, actually, we worked with students from ACAD.
Yeah.
Julia was one
Yeah.
of them, and recently we met a lady, Ola Birch.
Ola, she's fantastic.
Fantastic lady.
Yeah.
She came over here and she did some great...
Well, why don't you point out the artists that are just under the graffiti?
Yeah. Okay, well, right here we have Leonard Cohen.
Ah, yeah, I can visualize Leonard
Cohen,
right now.
Leonard Cohen.
Yes. Oh, the
Leonard-
older and the newer version of
older,
Leonard
younger,
Cohen.
yeah.
I can
Older-
see him, yeah.
Older, younger.
Yeah.
Randy Bachman.
Wait. I didn't quite get the Randy
Oh, we have
Bachman.
Randy
Is that the
Bachman,
older one?
Randy Bachman older.
Yeah.
Randy Bachman younger.
Oh, I can see him.
Jeff Healy.
Ah,
God bless
Jeff
you,
Healy.
Jeff.
God bless
We
you,
miss
Jeff
a lot.
Healy. Yes.
Jeff Healy.
Yeah.
Burton Cummings.
Yes.
I've got my own way to rock.
Righto.
Break it to them gently.
Yeah.
American Woman.
Yes.
Great guy.
Right.
And young Burton down here. And then, of course, up here we have Brian Adams on tour.
Right.
June 20th, I believe, here in Calgary. First time in 20 years. So, as you can see here now under this graffiti.
It's a graffiti of white paint.
Yes, white paint covering up these great Canadian rockers. With
This art that was going to be bequeathed to the city of Calgary.
That's right. We put them on interlocking panels so that they can easily be taken down.
Yes.
If we move later on, we'd be able to use them on another place, or even
Right.
get them to be used for photo shoots, which we've done a lot of lately.
Right.
Various
For
artists,
bands.
and
Artists.
artists and photographers,
Models.
models that have
Right.
helped us do things. So
Yeah.
you can see right now this great work that's been done here.
Has
And,
been whitewashed with graffiti paint.
yes, that's been covered over with graffiti paint. And,
Shall we go to the other one?
yeah, this is a really great work of art here. This was where we actually started out because
Right.
to make a connection with the kids, we wanted to really
Have a focal point.
have a focal point, something to capture their attention.
And
throughout
their
the
eye,
movie.
obviously.
Right, so we piped out the music through these speakers up here.
Oh, I see
And we
the
lit it all up
speakers,
with
yeah.
some Christmas lights.
Right.
And right here under this graffiti,
Right here.
Eddie Van Halen, who just played here in town.
Right?
Van Halen.
Wow, yes.
Dressed in his crazy jumping outfit there with the Kramer Frankenstrat.
Righto.
And then right down here, just an amazing musician, Dimebag Darrell.
Yes.
Pantera.
Righto.
And who's sadly no longer with us. Just like
Yes.
this mural that was here.
Yes.
It's gone.
Yes.
And Dimebag Darrell is gone. But the memory lives on.
Of
And
course.
the Rock Guitar Shelter
And that's
lives
what
on.
we're talking about right
up
here.
here, an amazing, beautiful picture. You'd be able to see underneath this graffiti
Yeah.
of Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
Dressed in his gypsy outfit.
Righto.
Just larger than life. Playing his
See,
Fender.
that's the cultural thing that somebody might
very
not
exciting.
have. Somebody might not have a cultural sensitivity to what is meaningful to the artists in the area. That
Exactly.
cultural insensitivity, I wonder why that happens. We'll just leave it as a question right now. How's that?
Yeah,
Let's leave
that's
it as a
fine.
question.
I'm good with that. I
Yeah.
don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Right up here, of course, Zach Wilde.
Yeah.
Dead Like Yesterday.
Righto.
Unfortunately, it's a funny paradox there.
It is.
Dead Like Yesterday.
Right.
Yesterday, I felt so fine. Life was burning in my eyes, but when a feeling is all you have, the feeling quickly dies.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about music. You know, we don't want the spirit of rock and roll to die.
No.
And we don't want the hope and the dreams that young kids have of being a rock star, of getting up there and playing, the feeling of feeling like you're somebody and being able to express yourself. So
That
like-
feeling of confidence.
we did.
We
Yeah, but
want
do
to
still
give
have
that to people, especially youthful, young, any age person. Tell me
That's
some
right.
more.
Well, right up here, of course, we have Zach Wilde and his crazy Les Paul with the circles going to the center. So
Righto.
Underneath, of course, this whitewash paint that's been put on here.
The graffiti paint.
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah. The defamation.
down here, of course, if
Yeah.
you remember,
Yes.
was Jimmy Page playing the double neck Gibson.
Righto.
12-string, 6-string, beautiful,
Yeah.
with his white outfit on with the roses embellished into the pant legs.
Right,
Incredible work of art.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to be able to bump into some art students from the ACAD program over here at Sage. It's a fabulous program. Really, if you're an artist at all and any
Oh,
interest
yeah.
at all in the arts,
Absolutely.
ACAD, SATE,
Yeah.
wonderful place to go.
Yeah.
And we were enlisted the help of SATE, and here we are, Rock Guitar Shelter.
Yes.
Dead like yesterday as far as the murals go.
Yes.
Moving on to bigger and better things.
And we're hoping that this whitewash graffiti will somehow be taken off in order that this art can then be given to the City of Calgary, other musicians to do their photo shoots, and it will be treasured, as opposed to something like that happened in Afghanistan when all the Taliban, do you remember? The Taliban ended up taking out the Buddhas out there. Isn't that crazy? Kind of something similar, you know, where you just don't appreciate something because you're a little bit not understanding the meaning and the values of a Canadian culture, maybe.
I think there's a connection that needs to be made. Once that you start to make a connection with your community, and with arts and with music, and of course you have to know that Calgary 2012 is going on right now.
Right on.
It's the 100th year of the library, 100th year of the theater, 100th year of the Calgary Stampede.
Yeah, some people don't get that.
This is really kind of sad in a way because there's just so many great musicians. I even heard the other day Leonard Cohen's back on the road again.
He is. He's coming to Calgary.
Back on the road again. Burton Cummings always was on the road playing. Just wonderful musician. So Eddie Van Halen was just here last week, earlier this week, I guess, and did a fantastic show with David Lee Roth and the whole group together. So that's obviously connections being made there, and we've just really super excited about the future of rock and roll and the future of music and the future of music connecting with kids, and that's what it was for me, and it still is for me.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep going. We're going to move on to bigger and better things. And, if you're out there in the city of Calgary today and this weekend and spending time with your mom and doing all these great things, making connections with your family and connecting with those supernatural areas in Alberta and Banff and Lake Louise and these type of areas, then think about kids and think about music and think about Canadian Idol and The Voice and all these wonderful things that go viral on the internet. These need to express, the children need to express themselves through music and through guitars and through performing arts and all these various things. And those things, they need the support. They need finances. You need finances to do that. I myself paid 85% of everything that's ever been done here at the Rock Guitar Shelter out of my own pocket. That's not to say that I didn't receive guitars. At one point, I calculated over 300 instruments were donated from Calgarians, and some as far as Fort Mac, and in the States, and from British Columbia. So we are reaching out into Canada, into the U.S., and we are receiving guitars and parts, and we have received a lot of great support, but maybe not in the sense of actual cash finances that we would need in order to continue. And this has been maybe a problem for me. I'm not a social media savvy person in any degree, but realize now in order to maintain any kind of grants and funding, social media and branding and advertising and structures need to be in place, and that's what I hope to enlist the help. If you're out there today in the city of Calgary or
anywhere in the world,
and you are into search engines, website development, if you're into social media, if you have friends that have finances, we'd be really wanting to
get in touch and help out.
JR@rockguitarshelter.com.